It was Thanksgiving, 2023. My house. The house I'd owned for 35 years. I was hosting, like always. Turkey in the oven since 6 that morning. The good china set out, the one my mother had given me when Robert and I bought this place back in 1988. 22 people around my dining room table. My daughter Jennifer, her husband Derek, their son Tyler, my grandson, my nephew Tom and his family, cousins I only saw at holidays. The house smelled like turkey and stuffing, pumpkin pie cooling on the counter, football game on in the living room. Normal. Everything felt normal. We were halfway through dinner when Jennifer stood up. She had an announcement, she said. Exciting news. I looked up from my plate. She was smiling. That big smile she used to have when she was little, showing me an A on a test. Derek and I have been working on something, she said. She pulled out her phone, tapped the screen a few times. We're converting Mom's house into rental units. The table went quiet. She turned her phone around, showed everyone a blueprint. 3 units. We've already gotten quotes from contractors. $145,000 to $180,000 for the conversion. We can charge $950 per unit. That's $2,800 a month total income. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth. We've been planning this for months, Jennifer continued. She was looking at everyone else, not at me. The contractor said 6 to 8 months for the work. Mom can have the smallest unit when she's ready. It's perfect for one person, 500 square feet, and Derek and I will take the master suite. It converts beautifully into a larger rental. The 3rd unit will be the old living room and den area. My house. She was talking about my house, the house I was sitting in, the house I was hosting Thanksgiving dinner in, right now. When I'm ready, I said. My voice came out smaller than I meant it to. Jennifer finally looked at me. Well, yes, when you're ready to move. We figured you'd want to downsize anyway. Maybe assisted living? You've been here alone since Dad died. This is a big house for one person. I looked around the table. Some people were nodding, like this made sense, like this was reasonable. My cousin Sarah said something about how smart it was, financially. Tom looked confused. Tyler was playing with his phone, not paying attention. Jennifer, I said. I put my fork down. My hand was shaking. I still own this house. I know, Mom. We'll handle all the logistics. The contractors, the permits, everything. You don't have to worry about any of it. No, I mean... I stopped. Took a breath. I still own this house. My name is on the deed. I paid off the mortgage 5 years ago. I never said you could do this. Jennifer's smile got tighter. Mom, we can talk about the details later. I just wanted to share the good news with everyone. It's going to be such a good investment. Investment in my house, the house I'd saved. 4, worked 2 jobs to afford, the house where I'd raised her. I didn't agree to this, I said. The table got quiet again. Different quiet this time. Uncomfortable. Derek reached over and squeezed Jennifer's hand. Like Jen said, we can talk through the details later. The important thing is, this is going to secure everyone's future, especially with the housing market the way it is. Everyone's future, not mine, everyone's. I sat there, my Thanksgiving dinner getting cold on my plate, my family around my table, in my house. The house my daughter had just announced she was converting into rental units, without asking me, without telling me, while I was sitting right there. She'd been planning this for months, and I'd had no idea. I looked at Jennifer, really looked at her. She was already talking to Sarah about square footage, about rental income potential, about how the neighborhood was perfect for rentals, close to the university, good schools, safe. My daughter was talking about my house like it was already hers, like I was already gone. I sat there, fork halfway to my mouth. My house, my name on the deed, paid in full, 35 years, and she was already dividing it into units. I need to tell you how we got here, how my daughter stood up at Thanksgiving dinner and announced she was converting my house, into rental units, without asking me, without even telling me. My name is Linda Harper. I'm 69 years old. I taught elementary school for 35 years, second grade. I retired 4 years ago. My husband Robert died 5 years ago. Heart attack, sudden. He was 67. We bought this house together in 1988. 3-bedroom, 2-bath ranch in the suburbs. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. We painted every room ourselves, refinished the hardwood floors, planted the oak tree in the front yard. It's taller than the house now. Robert and I raised Jennifer here. She's our only child, 43 years old now, married to Derek for 15 years. They have Tyler, he's 11, my grandson, the light of my life. After Robert died, I paid off the mortgage. Took me 5 years of careful budgeting, but I did it. The house was finally completely mine. No bank, no debt, just my name on the deed, Linda Beth Harper. I thought that meant something. I thought that meant security. Jennifer and I used to be close. Really close. After Robert died, she called every day, came over twice a week, brought Tyler to visit. We'd sit at my kitchen table, the same table Robert and I bought at an estate sale 30 years ago, and she'd tell me about work, about Tyler's school, about Derek's contracting business. But things changed about 18 months ago. She lost her job, marketing manager at a consulting firm. She'd been there 12 years. Layoffs, not her fault. She was devastated. The calls got less frequent, the visits too. When she did come over, she seemed distracted, stressed. She'd check her phone constantly. Derek's business had been struggling, down 60% since 2021. She'd mentioned last Christmas. And Tyler broke his arm that summer. Medical bills, even with insurance. I understood she was worried. I offered to help where I could. I always had. I'd given Jennifer $45,000 for college, night classes at the State University while I taught full-time during the day. 4 years. She graduated debt-free. I gave her $22,000 for her wedding. My savings account, emptied. The whole thing. Flowers, venue, dress, everything. I gave her $18,000 for a car down payment when she graduated. A reliable Honda, safe. And over the years, 17 times I counted once, she'd ask for loans. Never called them loans. Mom, could you help us out? $500 here. $2,000 there. Once $8,000 for Derek's business equipment. I never said no. Never asked when she'd pay me back. That's what mothers do, I thought. I told myself I was helping her build a future. Maybe $115,000 total over the years. Maybe more. I didn't keep exact records. I should have. My neighbor Margaret was the first person I noticed something was off. Margaret Connolly, 71, retired nurse. Widow, like me. She's lived next door for 20 years. We do book club together, mysteries mostly. Margaret waves from her porch every morning when I get the newspaper. Sometimes she brings my mail up the driveway when the mailman leaves it at the curb. About 6 months ago, Margaret mentioned she'd seen Jennifer's car in my driveway. On a Tuesday afternoon, I'd been at my dentist appointment. Did you give her a key? Margaret asked. I had. For emergencies. A year ago, maybe longer. Just in case you fall, Jennifer had said. Or if something happens and we need to get in. It made sense. I lived alone. It was practical. But that Tuesday, there was no emergency. When I asked Jennifer about it later, she said she'd needed to grab something she'd left in my garage, some of Tyler's sports equipment. Perfectly reasonable. I didn't think much of it. But then Margaret mentioned it again. And again. Jennifer's car. There on Wednesdays, when I was at my physical therapy appointment. There on Thursday mornings when I grocery shopped. Maybe she's just checking on the house for you, Margaret had said. But her tone suggested she thought otherwise. I should have asked more questions. I should have changed the locks. But I didn't want to seem paranoid. I didn't want to accuse my own daughter of... What? I didn't even know what I'd be accusing her of. She had a key. She was family. I'm a peacekeeper. Always have been. Robert used to tease me about it. Linda, you'd apologize to a burglar for having a house to rob. He'd joke. It was easier to let things go than to make waves. Easier to assume the best. Easier to keep the family harmony. That was my mistake. My flaw. I kept the peace, and I ignored the warning signs. Tyler, my grandson, I adore that boy. He's funny, smart, loves to draw. He'd show me his sketchbooks every time they visited. Superheroes, mostly. Dragons. His teachers said he was gifted. I was so proud. But the visits had dropped off. Used to be every other Sunday. Then once a month. Then Thanksgiving. Just Thanksgiving. I missed him. But Jennifer said they were busy. Tyler had soccer, school projects. I understood. Kids that age have full schedules. I didn't push. Peacekeeper, remember? Every morning I sit at my kitchen table. Same spot for 35 years. I make my coffee. Dark roast, splash of cream. I read the newspaper. Do the crossword puzzle. It's my routine, my quiet time. My house, my table, my routine. I water the plants on my back porch. Geraniums I planted 20 years ago. They come back every spring. I walk through the living room and look at the family photo on the mantle. Robert in his blue sweater. Jennifer, maybe 8 years old, front teeth missing. All of us at the lake. Happy. That was my life. Small, quiet, mine. I thought it was secure. I thought I'd earned it. 35 years of work. Mortgage paid off. House in good shape. Savings in. The bank. Retirement fund. Everything in order. I thought I was safe. That night after Thanksgiving, after Jennifer's announcement, after everyone left, after I scraped the uneaten food into containers, I couldn't sleep. I went downstairs at 2 a.m, turned on every light in the house, every single one. I walked through each room. My house. The walls I'd painted soft yellow in 1995. The kitchen floor I'd saved 2 years to replace. The bathroom Robert and I renovated ourselves in 2008. The garden bed where I grew tomatoes every summer. I stood in the living room, the room Jennifer wanted to convert into the third rental unit. My name on the deed. Linda Beth Harper, dated 1988. Mine. But for how long? The next morning I couldn't stop thinking about it. We've been planning this for months. That's what Jennifer had said. Months. Plural. Planning. Actively planning to convert my house into rental units without telling me. I went downstairs, made my coffee, sat at the kitchen table, but I couldn't focus on the crossword. The clues blurred together. I kept seeing Jennifer's face, that smile, the blueprint on her phone. I stood up, walked through the house, really looked at it, tried to see what she saw. Where would the walls go? How would they divide the living room? Which rooms would disappear? In the living room, I found it, a folder, tucked under the couch cushion, navy blue, the kind you get at office supply stores. I pulled it out, opened it. Architectural plans, detailed ones, floor layouts, measurements, 3 separate units clearly marked, Unit A, Unit B, Unit C. My bedroom, the master bedroom, labeled Unit B, 850 square feet, proposed rent $100 a month. My hands started shaking. There were notes in the margins. Jennifer's handwriting. Gas line relocation, $3,200. New HVAC split system, $8,500. Parking pad, gravel versus concrete? Parking pad, in my backyard where I grew tomatoes. I flipped through more pages. Contractor quotes, 3 of them, different companies. All dated within the last 2 months. One was from early November, 3 weeks ago, right before Thanksgiving. She'd left this here. Accidentally? Or did she think I wouldn't find it? Or did she think I wouldn't care? I picked up my phone, called Jennifer. My hands were still shaking. I put the phone on speaker and set it on the coffee table so I could hold the plans. "Hey, Mom," she answered, casual, light. "How are you feeling after yesterday? I know hosting Thanksgiving is exhausting." "Jennifer," I said, "I found the plans, the architectural plans, under my couch." Pause. Brief. "Oh, yeah, I must have left those. Sorry, I was going to grab them, but we left in a rush. Tyler wasn't feeling well." "These are detailed plans with contractor quotes. From November." "Right. Well, like I said yesterday, we've been working on this. It's a great opportunity, Mom. Real estate is—" "Jennifer, we never discussed this. You never asked me." Another pause. Longer this time. Mom. Her voice changed, softer, patient, the tone you use with a child. We did discuss it. Remember? Last month? You said you were thinking about downsizing, about how the house was too big now that you're alone. I searched my memory. Had I said that? I'd mentioned once maybe that the house felt empty. That was different. That wasn't permission to convert it into rental units. I never said you could do this, I said. Mom, we're just trying to help. You're getting older. This house is a lot to maintain, and the income from the rentals would help cover your expenses if you moved into assisted living. We're thinking about your future. Assisted living. She kept saying that, like it was inevitable, like I was already incompetent. I'm 69 years old, I said, not 90. I'm not going into assisted living. I didn't say now, Mom, but eventually. And when that time comes, wouldn't it be nice to have income from the house? It's just planning ahead, being practical. I looked at the plans spread across my coffee table. Unit A, Unit B, Unit C. My house, divided into pieces. I need to go, I said. Mom, don't be upset. We can talk about this later. I hung up. I sat there. The plans in front of me, my house, my living room, everything suddenly felt different, like I was seeing it through Jennifer's eyes, not as my home, as an investment, as square footage, as potential rental income. Margaret knocked on my door an hour later. She had 2 coffee cups. I saw your lights on early, she said. Thought you might need this. I let her in, showed her the plans. Margaret sat down on my couch, put on her reading glasses, went through every page. She didn't say anything at first, just read. Her mouth got tighter with each page. Linda, she finally said, has Jennifer been handling any of your paperwork, bills, anything like that? No, I handle everything myself. Does she have access to your accounts, online banking? I thought about it. I gave her my passwords last year in case something happened to me. Emergency contact information, account numbers, that sort of thing. It's in a folder in my desk. Margaret looked at me. I think we should check something. She helped me pull up the county property records website on my laptop. I'm not great with computers, never needed to be. But Margaret walked me through it. Type in the address, click search, wait. My property came up, owner, Linda Beth Harper, purchase date 1988, last transaction 2018, refinance paid in full. Scroll down, Margaret said. I scrolled. There was another section, recent activity, document requests, address changes. My stomach dropped. Address change request, filed October 15, 2023. Requested new mailing address for property tax documents. Jennifer Harper Morrison, 1847 Oakwood Drive. That was Jennifer's address. She'd tried to change where my property tax bills were sent. To her house, not mine. Keep scrolling, Margaret said quietly. Power of attorney application. Filed August 18, 2023. Status denied. Reason, lack of proper notarization and signature verification. I stared at the screen. She tried to get power of attorney over me, over my property, without telling you, Margaret said. The signature. I clicked on the attached document, opened it. There was my name, Linda Elizabeth Harper, signed at the bottom. But that wasn't my signature, not even close. And Elizabeth, I go by Beth. I never use my full middle name, never have. Everyone who knows me knows that. My own daughter didn't even know that, or she did and she didn't care. She forged my name, forged my signature, tried to get legal control over my life, over my house, over everything. The application was denied, but she tried. Linda, Margaret said. She put her hand on mine. I think Jennifer's been planning this for a lot longer than a few months. I sat there. My garden outside the window, the tomato beds where she wanted to put a parking pad, the living room where she wanted to put rental unit C, the house I'd paid for, the house I'd lived in for 35 years. She'd measured it, planned it, met with contractors, filed paperwork, tried to get power of attorney, changed my mailing address, or tried to. All behind my back, all without asking, all while I sat at my kitchen table every morning, doing my crossword, thinking everything was fine. "What do I do?" I asked Margaret. "First," Margaret said, "you change your passwords, all of them, right now. Then you call a lawyer, a good one." That night, I couldn't sleep again. I went to my desk, pulled out the folder where I kept my important documents, the one I'd shown Jennifer last year. "Just in case," I'd said. Emergency contacts, account numbers, passwords. The folder was thicker than I remembered. I opened it. Inside, on top of my documents, was a printed email, forwarded from my email account to Jennifer's. The subject line, "Will and estate documents, dated 3 months ago, September." She'd forwarded my will to herself, from my computer, using my email. 3 months before Thanksgiving, 3 months before her announcement. My hands started shaking again. I looked at the document, my will, the one I'd updated after Robert died, the one that left everything to Jennifer, the house, the savings, the retirement accounts, everything. She'd known exactly what she stood to inherit, and she'd been planning, not for after I died, but for now, while I was still here, still living, still capable. She'd been planning to take it, piece by piece, one rental unit at a time. I sat at my desk, 2 a.m, my house quiet around me, and I realized something. My daughter didn't see me as her mother anymore. She saw me as an obstacle, between her and my house, between her and the money she needed. I was 69 years old. I'd raised her alone for years after Robert died. I'd given her everything: college, wedding, car, loans I never asked her to repay, $100,000, maybe more. And it wasn't enough. It would never be enough, because what she wanted wasn't help. It was everything. She wanted my house, while I was still living in it. I closed the folder, turned off the light, went upstairs. But I didn't sleep. I couldn't, because now I knew. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't Jennifer trying to help me plan for my future. This was something else, something I didn't want to name, not yet, but I couldn't ignore it anymore. I called Margaret the next morning. "Can you help me with something?" She came over within the hour. We sat at my kitchen table, the architectural plans spread out, the printed email about my will, my laptop open to the county records page. "I need to document all of this," I said. "I need proof, real proof, not just my word against hers." Margaret nodded. "You need a lawyer first, someone who specializes in this." "In what?" Margaret looked at me. Her face was kind but serious. "Elder financial abuse. That's what this is, Linda. I've seen it before. I'm a nurse. Was a nurse. I've seen families do terrible things when money's involved." Elder financial abuse. The words felt too big, too dramatic. But when I looked at the POA application on my screen, my signature, forged, I couldn't argue. Margaret made the call. Her friend's daughter was an attorney, elder law, Susan Chen. She could see me that afternoon. "Bring everything," Margaret said. "Every document, every email, every record you can find." I spent the next 3 hours going through my desk, my filing cabinet, my computer, taking photos with my phone. Margaret helped me organize it, create folders, make copies at her house. By the time we drove to Susan Chen's office, I had a file 2 inches thick. Susan Chen's office was in a professional building downtown, 3rd floor, Elder Law Associates. The waiting room had soft lighting, comfortable chairs, pamphlets about estate planning and elder rights. Susan was 52, maybe, Asian woman, sharp blazer, short hair. She shook my hand firmly and led me to her office. "Tell me what's happening," she said. I told her, all of it. Thanksgiving, the plans, the phone call. Margaret helped fill in details when I forgot. Susan listened, took notes, didn't interrupt. When I finished, she said, "Let's look at the documents." I pulled out the POA application, the one from the county records. Susan put on her reading glasses, studied it carefully. "This signature," she said. "This is supposed to be yours?" "Yes, but it's not." Susan pulled out a pad of paper. "Can you sign your name for me? Your normal signature?" I did. Linda B. Harper. The way I've signed it for 50 years. The B flowing into the H. My handwriting, my signature. Susan held the two signatures side by side. County office fluorescent lights. I could see them in my mind, cold and harsh. Official stamps. Denied. The form crisp and official looking. But the signature was wrong. Obviously wrong to anyone who looked. "Not even close," Susan said. She pointed. "Look, the forged version has your full middle name spelled out. Elizabeth. You sign with just B?" "Always. I go by Beth. My middle name is Elizabeth, but I've used Beth since I was a kid. Everyone who knows me knows that." Susan made a note. "Your daughter would know that." I thought so, but apparently not, or she didn't care. Susan kept reading. "This was filed in August, 4 months ago, denied for lack of proper notarization, but the signature issue should have been caught too." She looked up at me. "The county clerk did you a favor by denying this, even if it was for the wrong reason." I sat in that leather chair in Susan's office. The carpet was beige. There was a window with a view of the parking lot. Everything felt surreal, legal, official, like I'd stepped into someone else's life. "Linda," Susan said gently, "do you understand what would have happened if this had been approved?" I shook my head. "Power of attorney would have given Jennifer legal authority over your finances, your property, your medical decisions, everything. She could have sold your house without your permission, moved money, made decisions on your behalf, and you would have had almost no recourse." The words settled over me, heavy, suffocating. I sat in that office holding that denied power of attorney application, my name, my signature, forged, not even close to my real handwriting. She'd used my full middle name, Elizabeth, but I go by Beth, always have, for 69 years. My own daughter didn't know that, or didn't care enough to get it right when she forged my name. She tried to take legal control of my life, my house, my money, my medical decisions, everything, while I was still capable. Still here, still living, still her mother. She filed paperwork with the county, filled out forms, signed my name, badly, but she signed it. She tried. The application was denied, but she tried. That's what I couldn't stop thinking about. She tried. How long had she thought about it? How long had she sat at her kitchen table practicing my signature? Or did she just scribble something and hope it would work? Did Derek know? Did they talk about it? Plan it together? August, 4 months before Thanksgiving. 4 months before she stood up at my dinner table and announced her plans. She'd already tried to get power of attorney, already tried to take control. And when that didn't work, she moved to Plan B. Rental units, contractors, converting my house while I was still living in it. I looked at Susan. Professional, capable. A stranger who was seeing my family's ugliness laid out on her desk. "What do I do?" I asked. Susan pulled the email I'd brought. The forwarded will. "Let's look at everything else you found." I showed her the email thread. Jennifer to 3 contractors, dated September through November, asking for quotes, describing the property, my address, my house. Looking to convert single-family home to 3-unit rental property. Owner is mother. Elderly, will be moving to assisted living. Timeline flexible, but prefer start date March 2024. Susan read it aloud. Owner is mother. Elderly, will be moving to assisted living. "I'm not elderly," I said. "I'm 69, and I'm not moving anywhere." "But she's positioning you that way to contractors," Susan said, "making it sound like you're incompetent, like you need care, like this decision is being made for your benefit." She clicked through more emails. One contractor had asked, "Will owner be present for site consultation?" Jennifer's response, "No need. Mother has given full authorization. I'm handling all arrangements." Full authorization. I'd never said that, never authorized anything. Susan pulled out her phone. Do you know if Jennifer and her husband discussed this? Text messages? Any written communication between them? I thought about it. I don't know. I don't have access to her phone. We can get it, Susan said. Discovery process. If we need to file a protective order or restraining order, we can subpoena phone records. She made another note. Based on what you've told me, the financial pressure, the debt, the business failing, I'd bet there are texts, planning conversations, income projections, discussions about timing. The texts existed, I was sure. Jennifer and Derek late at night talking about my house, about rental income, about when I'd move out, about how much money they could make. $2,800 a month, Jennifer had said at Thanksgiving. She'd done the math. You mentioned she had your banking passwords, Susan said. Yes, I wrote them down for emergencies, in a folder in my desk. She knew where it was. Have you checked your account activity? Login history? I shook my head. I don't know how. Susan turned my laptop around, walked me through it. Log into my bank account. Go to security settings, view login history, 14 entries, all from an IP address that wasn't mine, all between April and October, 14 times over 6 months. April 3rd, April 18, May 2nd, May 15th, June 1st, June 20th, July 8th, July 22nd, August 5th, August 19th, September 10th, September 28th, October 11th, October 30th, every 2 weeks, like clockwork. Checking my balance, viewing my accounts, checking my savings, $240,000, my retirement money, everything I'd saved. One entry flagged, transaction attempted, blocked by fraud prevention, $5,000. Transfer to external account, October 30th, 6 days before Thanksgiving. She'd tried to transfer money, $5,000. The bank's fraud alert had stopped it. Sent me an email. I remembered that email. Suspicious activity detected. I'd called the bank. They said it was probably a phishing attempt. They'd locked my account temporarily. I'd reset my password. Thought it was handled. It wasn't phishing. It was Jennifer. Susan screenshot everything. This is unauthorized access. Even if you gave her the passwords initially, she was using them to monitor your accounts, to track your money, and she attempted to steal $5,000. Why would she do that? Probably to see if you'd notice, Susan said. Testing. If $5,000 went through without you catching it, she could try more. Or she needed quick cash and thought you wouldn't check in time. My daughter. Stealing from me. Testing how much she could take before I noticed. Susan made several calls while I sat there. Speakerphone. Professional. Efficient. She contacted 2 of the contractors Jennifer had emailed, identified herself as my attorney. Asked if they'd be willing to provide written statements about their interactions with Jennifer Harper Morrison regarding my property. Both agreed. Both confirmed Jennifer had presented herself as handling her mother's affairs and making decisions about the property conversion. Neither mentioned getting authorization from the property owner, me. One contractor said Jennifer had mentioned I was getting up there in years and ready to move into a facility. Susan also pulled the full county property records, not just the online summary I'd seen, the complete file, every document filed, every request made, the address change attempt, the POA application, but also property assessment requests, building permit inquiries, zoning variance questions, all filed by Jennifer between July and October, all preparing for the conversion, all acting as if she already owned my house. This is a pattern, Susan said. Months of planning, multiple systems. She wasn't just thinking about this casually. This was deliberate, systematic. She was building a case for herself, trying to establish herself as the decision-maker for your property before anyone questioned it. I need to confront her, I said. Show her all this. Make her explain. Susan held up her hand. Linda, no, not yet. Not without documentation and witnesses. If you confront her now, she'll deny everything. She'll say you're confused. She'll say you don't remember conversations you had. She'll make you look incompetent, which is exactly what she's been setting up. But she's my daughter. I know. But right now, she's also someone who forged your signature, accessed your bank accounts without permission, and tried to take control of your property. You need to treat this seriously. Legally. I thought about calling Jennifer anyway, going to her house, demanding answers, making her look at these documents, making her admit what she'd done. But Susan was right. Jennifer would twist it. She'd already done it on the phone. We discussed this, Mom. Remember? Gentle, patient, making me doubt myself. If I showed up at her house with accusations and printouts, she'd call me paranoid. She'd tell Derek I was losing it. She'd use it as proof that I needed help, that I couldn't manage on my own, that I needed someone, her, to make decisions for me. The trap was already set. I'd almost walked right into it. Margaret drove me home. I was quiet the whole way, thinking about everything Susan had shown me, the evidence, the pattern, the deliberate, systematic planning. "You okay?" Margaret asked when we pulled into my driveway. "I don't know," I said honestly. I thought I knew my daughter. I thought I understood what was happening. But this... I looked at the folder in my lap, 2 inches thick. Documents, proof, evidence. "This is bigger than I thought." Margaret squeezed. "My hand. You're doing the right thing. Documenting it. Getting help. You're protecting yourself." I went inside, put the folder on my kitchen table, made coffee even though it was 4 in the afternoon, sat down, looked at my house, my kitchen, my table, my space, and for the first time, I felt something shift. Not just shock, not just hurt, something harder, clearer. I'd spent my whole life avoiding conflict, keeping the peace, smoothing things over, assuming the best. But the evidence didn't lie. 14 times she'd checked my accounts, forged signature, contractor emails, property records, months of planning, systems and strategies and careful, deliberate steps. This wasn't a misunderstanding. This wasn't Jennifer trying to help. This was something else, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I couldn't be the peacekeeper. Not this time. Because if I didn't act, I'd lose everything. My house, my savings, my independence, my dignity, everything I'd worked for, everything I'd earned. And that was just the first document. There were more, so many more. That night, I couldn't stop thinking about Thanksgiving. Not this one. The last good one. 5 years ago? 2018? Before Robert died? Before Jennifer lost her job? Before everything changed? Robert was alive. Heart attack wouldn't happen for another 3 months. We didn't know. That Thanksgiving, he carved the turkey, made jokes about the Patriots game, wore the blue sweater Jennifer had given him for his birthday. Jennifer was different then. Lighter. She laughed at her father's jokes, helped me in the kitchen without me asking. Tyler was 6. He sat at the kids' table with his cousins, making hand turkeys out of construction paper. After dinner, Jennifer found me in the kitchen. I was washing dishes. She picked up a towel, started drying. "Thanks for today, Mom," she'd said. "This house, it's always felt like home. You know? Like the place we all come back to." I'd smiled, squeezed her hand. "That's what it's supposed to be." "When I have a house like this someday," she said, looking around my kitchen, "I want it to feel like this. Safe, warm, like everything's going to be okay." I remembered thinking, she already had a nice house. But I understood what she meant. Home wasn't just walls and a roof. It was the feeling, the safety, the warmth. She hugged me. "I love you, Mom." "I love you too, sweetheart." That was 5 years ago. Now sitting at that same kitchen table, alone, Robert gone, that warm daughter gone too, I realized something. She still wanted my house. She'd always wanted it. But not the feeling, not the warmth or the safety or the love. She wanted the asset, the equity, the rental income. $2,800 a month. She didn't see this as the place she came home to. She saw it as the place she'd inherit. And she couldn't wait. The daughter who'd hugged me in this kitchen 5 years ago, I didn't know where she went. Maybe she'd never existed. Maybe I'd only seen what I wanted to see. A loving daughter. a grateful child, someone who valued what I'd given her. But the evidence didn't lie. The forged signature, the bank logins, the contractor emails, the months of planning. She'd been waiting for me to die. And when I didn't die fast enough, she decided to take it anyway, piece by piece, one rental unit at a time. I sat there. 2 a.m, coffee cold in my cup, and I realized something else. I'd spent 69 years being the peacekeeper, smoothing things over, avoiding conflict, assuming the best about people, especially family, especially Jennifer. When she asked for money, I gave it. When she needed help, I helped. When she had a key to my house and visited when I wasn't home, I told myself it was fine. When she checked my bank accounts 14 times, I didn't even know until yesterday. I'd enabled this. Not the forgery, not the lies, but the entitlement, the belief that my things were her things, that my money was her money, that my house was her inheritance, even while I was still living in it. I taught her that. By never saying no, by never setting boundaries, by always being available, always helping, always giving. Peacekeeper. That's what Robert used to call me, lovingly. But he was right. I kept the peace at any cost, even at the cost of my own dignity, my own security. Not anymore. I picked up my phone, called the locksmith, 7 a.m, left a message. Then I called Susan Chen, left another message. I want to move forward. Whatever needs to be done, I'm ready. Then I did something I should have done a year ago. I went to my desk, found the folder with my passwords written down, the one Jennifer knew about, the one she'd used to access my bank accounts. I tore it up, every page, threw it away. Then I spent the next hour changing every password, bank accounts, email, credit cards, everything. Susan had given me a list, strong passwords. Write them down somewhere Jennifer couldn't find them, or better yet, don't write them down at all. I used my mother's maiden name, my first school, the street I grew up on, things Jennifer wouldn't know, couldn't guess. By 8 a.m, everything was changed, everything was locked, everything was mine again. The locksmith called back at 9. Could he come today? I said yes, this afternoon. Susan called at 10. I got your message. You sound different. I am different, I said. I want to protect my house, my accounts, everything, whatever it takes. Good, Susan said. I'll file for a protective order. It'll prevent Jennifer from accessing your property or your financial information. But Linda, she's going to be upset. This is going to escalate. I know. Are you ready for that? I looked around my kitchen, my house, my space. Yes. The locksmith arrived at 2. Young guy, early 20s, efficient. He looked at my current locks. These are builder grade, he said. Easy to pick, easy to copy keys. You want something better? Yes, the best you have. He installed new deadbolts, front door, back door, side door to the garage, showed me how they worked, gave me 2 keys, only 2. Should I make copies? I asked. He looked at me. That's up to you. But these keys are hard to duplicate. You'd have to come back to me to get copies made. They're serialized, tracked. Good, I said. I don't want copies. He left. I locked the front door behind him. The new deadbolt was solid, heavy. It clicked into place with a satisfying sound, secure. I was standing in my living room holding the new keys when my phone rang. Jennifer. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Put it on speaker, set it on the coffee table. Mom, what are you doing? Her voice was sharp, not warm, not patient, sharp. Mrs. Patterson said there's a locksmith at your house. Why is there a locksmith at your house? Mrs. Patterson, my neighbor across the street. She must have called Jennifer, told her. Probably thought she was being helpful. I'm changing my locks, I said, calm, even. Why would you... Mom, I have a key for emergencies. I know, that's why I'm changing them. Silence. Then, what is going on? Are you upset about Thanksgiving? We can talk about it. There's no need to... Jennifer. I cut her off, my voice steady, clear. I found the architectural plans, the ones you left under my couch. I found the emails to the contractors. I went to the county office. I saw the power of attorney application, the one with my signature forged. More silence. I checked my bank records. 14 times, Jennifer. You logged into my accounts 14 times. You tried to transfer $5,000. Mom, I spoke with a lawyer, an elder law attorney. She explained what you were trying to do, what you almost did. Mom, you don't understand. It's my house, Jennifer. My voice didn't shake, didn't waver. I'm protecting my property. Property? I'm your daughter. Yes, you are. And you forged my signature on a power of attorney. You met with contractors to divide my house into rental units, without asking me, without my consent, while telling everyone I was moving to assisted living. We were trying to help. You weren't trying to help me. You were trying to help yourself, to my house, to my money, while I was still living, still capable. I could hear her breathing, fast, angry. The locks are changed, I said. If there's an emergency, you can call 911, like anyone else would. You can't do this. I can. I did. Silence. Long silence. Then her voice, different now. Cold. You're making a mistake, Mom. A big mistake. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. It's my house. I hung up. My hand was shaking, but only a little. I looked at the new keys. Solid. Real. Mine. I sat down at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd had coffee with Jennifer 5 years ago, where she'd said she loved this house, where she'd hugged me and said she loved me. I sat at my kitchen table, my kitchen table, with the locksmith's invoice in my hand. 43 years in this house, 35 years married to Robert, 8 years alone. And I finally understood. She never saw me as her mother. She saw me as her inheritance, while I was still alive. The peacekeeper was gone. I'd spent 69 years avoiding conflict, smoothing things over, assuming the best. But some things can't be smoothed over. Some conflicts can't be avoided. Some people, even your own daughter, will take everything if you let them. I wasn't going to let her. Not my house, not my money, not my dignity, not anymore. I looked at the new deadbolt on my front door. Solid, secure, locked. She couldn't get in anymore. Not without my permission, not without me knowing. For the first time in 5 years, maybe in my whole life, I felt something I didn't expect. I felt safe in my own home. Susan called 2 days after I changed the locks. Jennifer filed a response to the protective order request. What kind of response? She's claiming you're experiencing cognitive decline, memory issues. She says she's been concerned about your ability to manage your finances and property. She's requesting a competency evaluation. I felt cold. A competency evaluation? It's a strategy, Susan said. Her tone was matter-of-fact, professional. She's trying to establish that you're not capable of making your own decisions, that you need someone, her, to help you. If a judge orders an evaluation and finds any issues, she could petition for guardianship or conservatorship. But I'm fine. I'm completely fine. I know, but we need to prove it, officially. I'm going to recommend you get evaluated by a neuropsychologist, someone independent. We'll submit the results with our response. Show the court you're sharp, capable, and fully able to manage your own affairs. A competency evaluation, at 69 years old, to prove I wasn't senile, to prove I could still think, still remember, still function. It felt humiliating. But Susan was right. If Jennifer was claiming I was declining, I needed proof I wasn't. The evaluation was scheduled for the following week. 2 hours, clock drawing, memory tests, word lists, math problems. What year is it? Who's the president? Count backward from 100 by sevens. I sat in a beige office with a psychologist who looked younger than my daughter. She asked me to remember 3 words: apple, table, penny. Then asked me other questions for 10 minutes. then asked me to recall the 3 words: apple, table, penny, easy. She asked me to draw a clock showing 10 past 11. I drew it perfectly. She asked me to repeat a string of numbers backward: 7, 3, 9, 1, 5, 5, 1, 9, 3, 7. Perfect. 2 hours of this, proving I could think, proving I wasn't confused, proving I was still me. The psychologist wrote her report, handed it to me the next day. No signs of cognitive impairment. Patient is alert, oriented, articulate, memory function intact, executive function intact, fully capable of managing personal and financial affairs independently. I read it 3 times. Relief mixed with anger. I'd had to prove this, prove I was competent, because my daughter, my own daughter, told a court I wasn't. Margaret came over that afternoon, brought a tuna casserole. I heard Jennifer's been talking to people, she said. What people? Family, your cousin Sarah, your nephew Tom's wife, some of the neighbors. Margaret set the casserole on my counter, put her hand on mine. She's saying you're having memory problems, that you forgot you discussed the house conversion, that you're getting confused. I felt my stomach drop. Who believes her? Margaret hesitated. Some people. Not everyone. Tom doesn't believe her. He called me yesterday, asked what was really going on. I told him to call you directly. Who else? Sarah believes her, or she's choosing to. And Mrs. Patterson across the street, she's been calling Jennifer to check on your well-being. Jennifer's building a narrative, Linda. She's telling everyone you're declining, that she's worried, that she's just trying to help. I sat down. My own family, my neighbors, people I'd known for decades, and Jennifer was telling them I was losing my mind. The evaluation results will help, Margaret said gently. When people see you're fine, but damage is done. Even if I prove I'm competent, some people will always wonder. They'll always think maybe Jennifer was right. Maybe I am declining. Maybe I just had a good day during the test. Margaret didn't argue, because she knew I was right. The legal process moved slowly. Susan filed our response, submitted the evaluation results, requested a hearing date. Weeks passed, then months. Jennifer's attorney requested continuances, twice, 3 times, pushing the hearing back, further and further. It's intentional, Susan said. They're hoping you'll give up, or that something will happen, or that the delay will make you look unstable, like you can't handle the stress. But I didn't give up. I waited. Susan handled the paperwork, filed motions, responded to Jennifer's attorney's requests, kept everything documented. Tom started calling me every Sunday. How are you holding up, Aunt Linda? I'm okay. Jennifer called my wife, tried to convince her you needed help, that we should talk to you about moving into assisted living. My wife almost believed her. I had to show her the court documents, the evaluation results, everything. I'm sorry you're in the middle of this. You're not putting me in the middle, Tom said firmly. Jennifer is, and I'm choosing your side. You've always been there for me. I'm here for you now. One trustworthy family member. That helped, but it also hurt, because it meant others, Sarah, Tom's wife, maybe others I didn't know about, had chosen Jennifer's side, or were at least uncertain. 3 months after I changed the locks, Jennifer called. Her voice was different, soft, sad. Mom, can we talk? Just talk. No lawyers, no courts, just you and me. I hesitated. The peacekeeper in me, the old me, wanted to say yes, wanted to smooth this over, wanted to fix it. I don't think that's a good idea, I said. Mom, please. I know things got out of hand. I know I made mistakes. But you're my mother. I love you. Can we just meet? Talk through this? There has to be a way to work this out. I thought about it. Maybe she was genuine. Maybe she realized what she'd done. Maybe she wanted to apologize. Make it right. I almost said yes. Then Margaret's voice in my head. She's building a narrative. I need to think about it, I said. Of course. Take your time. I'll be here when you're ready." She sounded sincere. She sounded like my daughter, the one who'd hugged me in my kitchen 5 years ago. I called Margaret, told her about Jennifer's call. "Don't do it," Margaret said immediately. "Not without a witness, not without documentation. Linda, she's been telling everyone you're incompetent. She's been fighting you in court for 3 months. This isn't an olive branch. This is strategy." Margaret was right. I knew she was right, but part of me still wanted to believe Jennifer, still wanted my daughter back. I didn't call Jennifer back. 2 weeks later, Jennifer called again. Different tone this time. Businesslike. "Mom, I've been thinking, what if we compromise? You keep the house, but you let Derek and me convert the basement and the garage into rental units. You'd still have your main living space. We'd just use the extra space. You'd get income from the rentals. It's win-win." "I don't have a basement," I said. "Right, I meant the garage and the back den. We could convert those. You'd barely notice, and you'd get monthly income, help with your expenses." I thought about it. It sounded reasonable. Almost. She was offering me a compromise, letting me keep most of the house, just using space I didn't really need. I called Susan, told her about the offer. Susan was quiet for a moment, then, "Linda, that's not a compromise, that's worse." "What do you mean?" "If you agree to let them convert any part of your property, you're essentially giving them control. They'd be on your property, in your space. You'd have tenants, their tenants, living in units attached to your house. And legally, once that conversion happens, it becomes very difficult to undo. You'd lose equity. You'd have rental properties on your deed. And Jennifer would have established herself as co-manager of your property. It's a trap." I sat there. Phone in my hand, Jennifer's voice still in my head. Win-win. It wasn't win-win. It was take everything slowly instead of take everything at once. "I'll decline," I said. I called Jennifer back. "No, I'm not converting any part of my house." Her voice changed, cold again. "You're being unreasonable. I'm trying to find middle ground here." "There is no middle ground. It's my house, not yours, not partially yours, mine." She hung up. A week later, I was at my physical therapy appointment. Tuesday morning, 10 to noon, regular appointment. Same time every week. Margaret called. "Linda, there are movers at your house." "What?" "A moving truck. Jennifer's here, with Derek. They're trying to get into your house. They have boxes, a dolly. They're saying they're here to help you pack." "Call the police," I said. "Right now. I'm coming home." I left physical therapy, drove home, 10 minutes, the whole time my heart pounding. What was she doing? What was she thinking? When I pulled into my driveway, there was a moving truck. 2 men standing by it, Jennifer and Derek on my front porch, trying the door, the new locks holding. Margaret was on her porch, phone in her hand, watching. I got out of my car. "What are you doing?" Jennifer turned, smiled. That patient smile. "Mom, we're here to help you downsize. I know this is hard, but we talked about this. You're moving to a smaller place. Remember." "I never said that." "Mom, we discussed it. You're getting overwhelmed in this big house. We're just helping you transition. The movers are here. We found you a nice assisted living community. Get off my property." "Mom, I said get off my property, now." A police car pulled up. Margaret had called them. An officer got out. Young. Professional. "What's going on here?" "My mother is having an episode," Jennifer said quickly, smoothly. "She's been having memory issues. We're trying to help her move." "That's not true," I said, my voice shaking but clear. "I never agreed to move. I never asked for movers. This is my house. I own it. They're trespassing." The officer looked at Jennifer. "Do you have documentation? Permission from the owner to be here? She's my mother. Do you have written permission?" Jennifer hesitated. "No, but she's not competent to—" "I have a court-ordered competency evaluation," I said. I pulled out my phone, showed the officer the PDF Susan had sent me. Dated 2 weeks ago, no cognitive impairment, fully capable of managing my affairs. The officer read it, looked at Jennifer. Ma'am, if the property owner is asking you to leave, you need to leave. Now. This is ridiculous, Jennifer said, but she gestured to the movers, to Derek. Come on, we're leaving. They got in their vehicles, the truck pulled away. Derek's truck followed. Jennifer stopped at her car, looked at me. You're making a terrible mistake, Mom. You need help, and you're pushing away everyone who loves you. If you loved me, I said, you wouldn't have forged my signature. You wouldn't have tried to take my house while I was still living in it. She got in her car, drove away. I stood in my driveway, shaking. The police officer stayed for a few minutes, made sure they were really gone, asked if I wanted to file a report. I said yes. He took my statement, left. Margaret came over, hugged me, didn't say anything, just held me while I shook. That night, Jennifer sent a text. You won't let me see Tyler anymore, will you? You're punishing him because you're mad at me. And there it was, the threat I'd been waiting for. My grandson, the one person I still loved without complication, without betrayal. She was going to use him against me. I showed the text to Susan the next day. Document it, Susan said. Everything, every text, every threat, it all helps our case. When will we have a hearing? Next month, finally. The judge set a date. We're going to mediation first. Family meeting, my office, you, Jennifer, her attorney, me. We'll present evidence, try to reach an agreement. And if we don't, then we go to court. I nodded. 1 month, 4 weeks, 28 days. Then this would finally be over, one way or another. The mediation was scheduled for 10 in the morning. Susan's office, conference room on the second floor, neutral ground, she'd said, professional setting. I drove myself, arrived 15 minutes early, parked. Sat in my car for a few minutes, breathing, steady. This was it. Everything I'd documented, everything I'd discovered, everything Jennifer had done. It was all about to be laid out, in front of her, in front of lawyers, in front of witnesses. I got out of the car, walked into the building, took the elevator to the second floor. Susan met me in the lobby. You ready? Yes. Remember, stay calm. Answer questions directly. Don't let Jennifer bait you into an emotional response. We have the evidence. We have the facts. That's what matters. I nodded. We walked toward the conference room. Jennifer was in the hallway, alone. Her attorney hadn't arrived yet. She saw me, walked toward me quickly. Mom, wait. Before we go in there, can we just talk? Just us? Susan put her hand on my arm. Linda, you don't have to. It's okay, I said. I looked at Jennifer. 2 minutes. We stepped into a small side office. Empty. Susan stayed by the door, close enough to hear, far enough to give us space. Jennifer's eyes were red, like she'd been crying. Mom, please, this doesn't have to happen. We can work this out, you and me, family. We don't need lawyers and courtrooms and all this legal stuff. You forged my signature on a power of attorney. I know that was wrong. I was panicking. I didn't know what else to do. We were drowning financially. I thought if I could just get access to help manage things. You weren't trying to help me. You were trying to help yourself. Maybe both. But Mom, her voice broke, I'm still your daughter. You raised me. You know me. This isn't who I am. I made mistakes. I was desperate. But we can fix this. I'll give you back the keys. Wait, you changed the locks. Okay, I'll stay away from the house. I'll stop the rental unit plans. I'll do whatever you want. Just please, don't do this. Don't make me go in there and have strangers judge me. Judge our family. I looked at her. My daughter, 43 years old. The little girl I'd raised. The teenager I'd helped through heartbreak. The young woman I'd watched get married, and I saw it. The manipulation, the performance. The exact same tone she'd used on the phone. Soft, sad, making herself the victim. If you wanted to fix this, I said quietly, you would have stopped when I found the plans. You would have apologized when I called you about the POA. You would have backed off when I changed the locks, but you didn't. You filed a court response claiming I was incompetent. You sent movers to my house. You threatened to keep Tyler from me. I didn't threaten. You won't let me see Tyler anymore, will you? That's a quote from your text. Jennifer's face hardened, just for a second. Then the soft expression came back. Mom, please. We're done, I said. I walked past her. Back to Susan. Jennifer stood in that small office, alone, and I didn't look back. The conference room had a long table, dark wood, 8 chairs, windows overlooking the parking lot, professional, clean, impersonal. Susan and I sat on one side. Jennifer and her attorney, a man in his 50s, gray suit, tired eyes, sat on the other. Derek wasn't there. Susan had told me that was Jennifer's choice. Probably didn't want him questioned. A mediator sat at the head of the table. Woman in her 60s. Former judge, Susan had said. She'd review the evidence, hear both sides, help us reach an agreement. If we couldn't agree, we'd go to court. A real trial. Public record. The mediator introduced herself, explained the process. This is confidential. What's said here stays here. The goal is to find a resolution that works for everyone. Ms. Chen, you filed the protective order request. Why don't you start? Susan opened her folder, pulled out documents, laid them on the table, one by one. My client, Linda Harper, is 69 years old, retired elementary school teacher, widow. She owns her home outright. Purchased in 1988, mortgage paid in full in 2018. She's lived there for 35 years. She manages her own finances, her own health care, her own household. She is fully capable and fully competent. Susan slid a document across the table. Neuropsychological evaluation, completed 3 weeks ago. No cognitive impairment, memory function intact, executive function intact. Jennifer's attorney looked at it, didn't say anything. In August of this year, Susan continued, Ms. Harper's daughter, Jennifer Morrison, filed a power of attorney application with the county, without Ms. Harper's knowledge, without her consent. Susan pulled out the POA form, set it in the middle of the table. My property deed was there, too, right next to the POA. My name, Linda Beth Harper. Clear, undeniable. This signature, Susan said, pointing to the POA, is a forgery. It's not Ms. Harper's signature. The middle name is spelled out, Elizabeth. Ms. Harper goes by Beth, always has. Anyone who knows her knows that. Jennifer stared at the table. The application was denied, Susan said, but the attempt was made. That's attempted fraud. That's a crime. My client was trying to help her mother, Jennifer's attorney said. His voice was flat, like he knew this was a losing argument but had to try. She was concerned about her mother's ability to manage a large property alone. Then she should have talked to her mother, Susan said, not forged legal documents. Susan pulled out more papers. Between April and October, Ms. Morrison accessed her mother's online banking accounts 14 times without permission. She viewed account balances, checked savings. On October 30th, she attempted to transfer $5,000 from her mother's account to an external account. The bank's fraud alert stopped it. Jennifer's attorney shifted in his seat. Ms. Morrison also contacted 3 contractors, Susan continued, asked for quotes to convert her mother's home into rental units. She presented herself as the decision-maker, told contractors her mother was elderly and moving to assisted living. She filed building permit inquiries, property assessment requests, zoning variance questions, all without her mother's knowledge or permission. Susan looked at the mediator. This isn't a misunderstanding. This isn't a daughter trying to help her aging mother. This is a systematic, calculated attempt to take control of my client's property and finances, while my client is still living, still capable, still the legal owner. The mediator looked at Jennifer. Ms. Morrison, do you dispute any of these facts? Jennifer was quiet, then. I was trying to help. Did you forge your mother's signature on a power of attorney? Long pause. Yes. Did you access her bank accounts without explicit permission? She gave me her passwords for emergencies. Did you use them for emergencies? Jennifer didn't answer. Did you contact contractors about converting your mother's property without discussing it with her first? We talked about it at Thanksgiving. Before Thanksgiving, the mediator said. The contractor emails are dated September and October. Thanksgiving was November. Did you discuss this with your mother before contacting contractors? Jennifer looked at her attorney. He said nothing. She looked back at the mediator. No. Susan called her first witness, county clerk, a woman in her 40s, professional. She'd brought the original POA file. She testified for about 5 minutes, explained how the application was flagged, how the signature didn't match other documents on file, how it was denied for lack of notarization, but should have been denied for the signature issue too. In your professional opinion, Susan asked, was this signature forged? Yes, obviously. Thank you. Jennifer's attorney didn't cross-examine. What could he ask? Susan called the second witness, one of the contractors Jennifer had contacted. He joined by phone, speaker in the middle of the table. Susan asked him about his interactions with Jennifer. She emailed me in September, he said. His voice was tinny through the speaker, but clear. Asked about converting a single-family home to 3 rental units. Gave me the address. Said the owner was her mother, elderly, moving to assisted living. I asked if the owner would be available for a site consultation. She said no need. She was handling all arrangements. Mother had given full authorization. Did you ever speak to the property owner? No. I assumed the daughter had legal authority. She seemed very organized, had measurements, plans, knew what she wanted. Did Ms. Morrison ever mention that the owner, her mother, didn't know about these plans? No, she presented it as a done deal, just needed the contractor. Thank you. Susan looked at the mediator. 2 other contractors confirmed similar conversations. I have their written statements here. She didn't call them, didn't need to. The pattern was clear. The mediator looked at Jennifer. Ms. Morrison, I've heard the evidence. I've seen the documents. I'd like to hear from you. Why did you do this? Jennifer was quiet, staring at the table, at the property deed, my name facing her, Linda Beth Harper. Ms. Morrison, Jennifer's voice was small, tight. We're broke. Silence. I lost my job 18 months ago. I've been looking, applying everywhere. Nothing. Derek's business is failing. We're $60,000 behind on our mortgage. $85,000 in credit card debt. Tyler needs new school clothes and we can't afford them. We can't afford anything. Her voice broke. She was crying. Real crying, I thought. Not performance, not manipulation, real fear. I looked at my mom's house, Jennifer continued. This big house, empty. Just her. And I thought, she's almost 70. She won't need it forever. Why not use it now? Why not make it work for all of us? I could pay off our debts, save our house, give Tyler the life he deserves, and Mom could move somewhere smaller, easier, better for her. She looked at me, finally looked at me directly. I thought she wouldn't mind. I thought she'd understand. She always helped me before, always gave me money when I needed it, always said yes. I thought this was just bigger, but the same. I thought she'd say yes, like always. But you didn't ask her, the mediator said. No. Jennifer wiped her eyes, because I knew she'd say yes, and I knew I'd feel guilty asking, so I just started planning, figuring it out. I thought if I presented it all together, plans, contractors, numbers, she'd see it made sense, that it was smart, that it helped everyone. And when she didn't agree? Jennifer looked down. I panicked. I filed the POA. I thought if I had legal authority, I could just do it, handle it, fix everything. I didn't think about how it would feel for her, to have her own daughter try to take control, try to take her house. I just thought about the money, about solving our problems. She looked at me again. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm so sorry. I know that doesn't fix it. I know I destroyed everything. Our relationship, your trust, all of it. I was desperate, and I was wrong. I'm so sorry. I sat there, listening, hearing my daughter admit what she'd done, hearing the desperation, the fear, the genuine remorse, and I felt tired, not angry, not vindicated, just tired. She was my daughter. I'd raised her, loved her, given her everything, and she'd tried to take the rest. Because I'd taught her she could. Because I'd always said yes. Because I'd never set boundaries, never said this far and no further. Maybe I'd made her this way. Or maybe she'd always been this way, and I'd just never wanted to see it. Either way. Here we were. I looked at Jennifer, not at her attorney, not at the mediator, at her. "You're right," I said. My voice was calm, steady. "I always said yes. I gave you $45,000 for college, $22,000 for your wedding, $18,000 for your car, $100,000 more over the years. Every time you asked, every time you needed help, I said yes." Jennifer nodded, crying. "I thought I was helping you build a future," I said, "but I wasn't. I was teaching you that my things were your things, that my money was your money, that you were entitled to whatever I had, whenever you wanted it." I paused. "You said you thought I wouldn't mind. About the house. And maybe that's true. Maybe I would have said yes. Maybe I would have let you convert it, let you take control, let you make decisions about my life, my property, my future." Jennifer looked up, hopeful. "But you didn't ask me," I said. "You forged my signature. You lied to contractors. You accessed my bank accounts and tried to steal $5,000. You filed court documents claiming I was incompetent. You sent movers to my house. You threatened to keep my grandson from me." My voice didn't shake, didn't waver. "I'm 69 years old. I'm not 90. I'm not incompetent. I'm not confused. I balanced my checkbook this morning. I paid my property taxes on time. I completed a cognitive evaluation perfectly. I manage my own life, my own home, my own money." I looked at her attorney, then at the mediator, then back at Jennifer. "I'm not the one who lost her job and needs money. I'm not the one facing foreclosure. I'm not the one who's broke. That's you, Jennifer, not me." Jennifer's face crumpled. "You didn't try to help me," I said. "You tried to take from me. There's a difference." I looked at Susan, nodded. Susan slid the property deed across the table, turned it so Jennifer could see it clearly. My name, right there, undeniable. "This is my house," I said. "It's been mine for 35 years. It's going to stay mine." The mediator gave us a 15-minute break. Jennifer and her attorney went to another room. Susan and I stayed. "You did great," Susan said, clear, firm, perfect. I didn't feel great. I felt empty, like I'd said something true and necessary and terrible all at once. When we came back, Jennifer's attorney spoke. "My client would like to propose settlement terms." The mediator nodded. "Go ahead." "Ms. Morrison will agree to a no-contact order. She will not attempt to access Ms. Harper's property or financial accounts. She will return any documents or information related to Ms. Harper's personal affairs. She will cease all planning related to property conversion. She requests that grandmother-grandchild visitation with Tyler be maintained, supervised if necessary, but not cut off entirely." Susan looked at me. I nodded. "Agreed," Susan said, "on the condition that Ms. Morrison acknowledges in writing that Ms. Harper is the sole owner of her property, that Ms. Harper is competent and capable, and that any previous statements to the contrary, to family, friends, or neighbors, were incorrect and will be corrected." Jennifer's attorney looked at Jennifer. She nodded, quietly, defeated. "Agreed," he said. The mediator typed. "Printed settlement agreement, 2 pages, we all signed, it was done." I walked to my car. Susan walked with me. "How do you feel?" she asked. "I don't know," I said honestly. "You protected yourself. You protected your home. You did the right thing." "I know." But it didn't feel like victory. It felt like loss. My daughter, my family, the relationship I'd thought we had. It was all gone. When the mediator read the settlement terms, I didn't feel triumphant, just tired and sad. I'd raised her to be better than this, or I thought I had. Maybe I'd raised her wrong. Maybe I'd loved her wrong. Maybe I'd been too soft, too giving, too willing to smooth over problems instead of addressing them. Or maybe some people just take what they can get and keep taking until someone stops them. I'd stopped her. Finally. After 69 years of saying yes, I'd said no. I got in my car, drove home, to my house, my name on the deed, my locks on the doors, my space, my life. Mine. The week after the mediation, I changed my will. Susan had recommended an estate attorney. Not her. She specialized in protective orders, elder abuse cases, not estate planning. But she knew someone, a woman named Patricia Grant, 60 years old, calm, thorough. Patricia reviewed my old will, the one Jennifer had forwarded to herself back in September. Simple document, everything to Jennifer, written 5 years ago right after Robert died. "We're going to change this," Patricia said, "completely." The new will was different, specific, protected. Everything went into a trust. Tyler was the beneficiary, my grandson, 11 years old. He'd inherit when he turned 25. Until then, the trust would be managed by 2 trustees, Tom, my nephew, and Patricia herself. Jennifer had no access, no control, couldn't touch it. If I died tomorrow, Tyler would be taken care of, his education funded, his future secure, and Jennifer couldn't use it to pay off her debts. "The house," Patricia asked, "stays in the trust. Tom can sell it or keep it, whatever makes sense. But the money goes to Tyler, for college, for his life." Patricia nodded, made notes. "And your bank accounts?" "Those too, everything. I want it all protected." 2 weeks later, the new will was signed, notarized, filed, ironclad. Susan also helped me file a credit freeze, lock down my Social Security number, check my credit report. Jennifer had opened 2 credit cards in my name. I didn't even know until the credit report showed up. Both maxed out, $8,000 combined. The bank reversed the charges. Fraud. I filed a police report, added it to the file. More documentation, more proof. I changed my banking passwords again, set up 2-factor authentication. Every login required a code sent to my phone. Susan walked me through it. Margaret helped too, making sure I understood. "You're doing great," Margaret said. "Protecting yourself. That's smart." 3 months after the mediation, everything was locked down. New will, credit freeze, secured accounts, no contact order filed with the county. Jennifer couldn't come near my property, couldn't contact me, couldn't access anything. I was safe. Finally. Completely. Margaret and I fell into a routine. Tuesday mornings, she'd come over. We'd have coffee at my kitchen table, talk about book club, her grandkids, my garden plans for spring. One Tuesday, she brought cinnamon rolls, homemade. "I've been thinking," she said, "about what Jennifer did, about how long it took you to realize. I should have seen it sooner. Maybe, but Linda, you trusted your daughter. That's not wrong, that's normal. She's the one who violated that trust, not you." I thought about that. She was right. I'd trusted Jennifer. Believed the best. That wasn't my failure. That was hers. "I suspected months ago," Margaret admitted, "when I saw her car in your driveway all those times, but I didn't want to say anything. I thought maybe I was being paranoid, seeing problems that weren't there. I should have spoken up sooner." "You spoke up when it mattered," I said. "You helped me search the county records. You came with me to Susan's office. You testified when I needed you to. That's what counts." Margaret squeezed my hand. "We look out for each other. That's what neighbors do." And she was right. We did look out for each other. Tuesday coffee became a standing date. Book club met at my house twice. Margaret and I planted flowers together in the spring, new geraniums, fresh starts. Susan called me 6 weeks after the settlement. I wanted to check in, see how you're doing. I'm okay. Better. Good. You handled everything well. Most people don't have the strength to stand up to family like that, especially their own children. But you did. You protected yourself. I'm proud of you. Thank you for everything. That's my job. But Linda, I see this too often. Adult children who forget their parents are still people, with rights, with dignity. You didn't let that happen. You fought back. After I hung up, I thought about that. I had fought back. For the first time in my life, I'd set boundaries, said no, refused to be taken advantage of. It felt strange, uncomfortable, but also right. Tom started calling every Sunday, 10 in the morning, regular as clockwork. How are you doing, Aunt Linda? I'm good, Tom, really good. Sarah finally apologized for believing Jennifer. She said she should have talked to you directly, asked for your side. That's kind of her. I told her she should call you, but she's embarrassed. I think she will, eventually. Maybe she would. Maybe she wouldn't. Either way, I'd survived. One Sunday, Tom asked if he could come over, bring his kids. I found Grandma's china set in my attic, the one she left you when she died. Remember? I've been storing it for you. I want to bring it back, make sure it's documented, protected. He came over that afternoon, carefully unpacked the china, 60-year-old pieces, delicate, beautiful. My mother's, now mine. I want to be your trustee, Tom said. Patricia explained what that means. I want to help. Make sure Tyler's taken care of. Make sure your wishes are followed, whatever you need. Thank you. You've always been there for me. When my dad died, when I needed help with college applications, when I bought my first house. You were there. I'm here now. Family. Real family. That's what this was. Tyler's visits were supervised, once a month, at a neutral location, a community center with meeting rooms, a social worker present. Not ideal, but better than nothing. The first visit was awkward. Tyler was quiet, confused. Why can't I come to your house anymore, Grandma? It's complicated, sweetie, but I'm still here. I still love you. Mom said you're mad at her. I am, but not at you. Never at you. He showed me his drawings, dragons, superheroes. The same ones he'd always drawn. I told him they were amazing, that he was talented, that I was proud of him. At the end of the visit, he hugged me. I miss you, Grandma. I miss you too. I set up a college fund for him, separate from the trust, money he could use when he turned 18, $5,000 to start. I'd add more over time. Patricia helped me set it up. Protected. Jennifer couldn't access it, couldn't redirect it. Tyler would have options, no matter what Jennifer did, no matter how much debt she carried. He'd have options. Christmas came. Small gathering. Margaret, Tom and his family. Patricia had become a friend, too. She came over for tea sometimes, helped me understand my new financial setup. I hosted at my house, my table, my space, new traditions, chosen family. No turkey this time. Ham. Simpler. Margaret brought scalloped potatoes. Tom's wife brought pie. We ate, talked, laughed. After dinner, Tom raised his glass to Aunt Linda for being the strongest person I know. Everyone drank. I felt my throat tighten, but I smiled. To new beginnings. And that's what this was, a new beginning. Not the life I'd planned, not the family I'd imagined, but mine, safe, secure, protected. That night, after everyone left, I sat at my kitchen table. The same table where I'd sat after Thanksgiving, where I'd realized what Jennifer was doing, where I'd decided to fight back. I looked around my house, my living room, my kitchen, my space, everything intact, nothing converted, nothing divided, mine. Spring arrived. I planted new flowers in my garden. Where Jennifer had wanted to put a parking pad, I put tomatoes. Where she'd planned rental units, I put my life, my routines, my peace. Some days I thought about her, wondered how she was doing, if she'd found work, if they'd kept their house, if Tyler was okay. But I didn't call, didn't reach out. The no contact order was still in place, and even if it wasn't, some bridges once burned can't be rebuilt. I'd chosen myself, my safety, my dignity, for the first time in 69 years, and I didn't regret it. It's been 18 months since that Thanksgiving, since Jennifer stood up at my table and announced she was converting my house into rental units, since I found the forged power of attorney, since I learned my own daughter had been planning to take everything. I'm still here, still in my house, the one I paid for, the one with my name on the deed, Linda Beth Harper, 70 years old now, still managing my own life, my own finances, my own future. The house is quiet, but it's mine. Every room, every corner. Nothing divided, nothing converted. Just me, my space, my peace. Margaret still comes over Tuesday mornings. We drink coffee at my kitchen table, the same table where I sat with that locksmith's invoice, where I realized what Jennifer was doing, where I decided to fight back. Now we talk about normal things, books, garden plans, her grandchildren, my plans for repainting the guest room. Next month, book club meets here. I volunteered to host. First time since that Thanksgiving. I'm ready. Jennifer and I haven't spoken. The no contact order is still in place. I don't know if she found work, if they kept their house. I wonder sometimes, but I don't reach out. Tyler visits once a month, supervised, at the community center. He's 12 now, taller. His voice is changing. He still shows me his drawings, still hugs me goodbye. Love you, Grandma. Love you too, sweetheart. It's not what I wanted, not the relationship I'd imagined with my grandson, but it's something, and it's protected. He's protected. His future is secure. The trust, the college fund, whatever happens with Jennifer, Tyler will be okay. That's what matters. Tom calls every Sunday. Patricia stops by for tea once a month. My estate is organized, protected, everything documented, everything secure. I volunteer at the Senior Legal Aid Center now, once a week. I help other seniors recognize warning signs, financial abuse, family manipulation, property theft. I know what to look for. I've lived it. Last week, a woman came in, 73 years old. Her son was pressuring her to sign over her house. He says it's for tax purposes, she told me. He says it'll make things easier when I'm gone. I looked at her, saw myself 2 years ago, trusting, wanting to believe. Has he asked you? I said. Or told you? She thought about it. Told me, I guess. Then don't sign. Not until you talk to a lawyer. Not until you understand what you're giving up. She thanked me. Took the referral card. Maybe she'll call. Maybe she won't. But I planted a seed. A doubt. A question. That's all it takes sometimes. One person saying, wait, think, protect yourself. I wish someone had said that to me sooner, but maybe I wouldn't have listened. Maybe I needed to learn the hard way. Either way, I learned. Some mornings, I still expect to see her car in my driveway. But then I remember my house, my rules, my peace. That's enough. I'm not the peacekeeper anymore. I'm not the one who says yes to everything, who smooths things over, who avoids conflict at any cost. I'm the woman who changed her locks, who hired a lawyer, who stood in a conference room and said, "This is my house. It's going to stay mine." I'm the woman who chose herself. Finally, at 69 years old, and I don't regret it. Not the boundaries, not the no contact order, not the distance from my daughter, because the alternative, letting her take control, losing my home, losing my dignity, that would have been worse, much worse. I'm standing, still in my house, still independent, still capable, still here. And that's what I want you to know. If your adult children are making plans for your property, plans you didn't agree to, plans you don't understand, talk to someone, a lawyer, a friend, anyone who can help you see clearly. Don't assume they have your best interests at heart. Don't assume family means they won't hurt you. Sometimes the people who are supposed to love you the most are the ones who'll take the most. Protect yourself. Set boundaries. Say no, even if it's hard. Even if it means losing relationships you thought you had. Even if it means being alone. Because being alone in your own home is better than being surrounded by people who see you as an obstacle, an inheritance, a resource to be managed. You deserve better than that. I deserve better than that. And now I have it. Peace, safety, independence, my house, my life, my terms. It took me 69 years to learn that lesson, but I learned it. And I'm still here, in my house, the one I paid for, living the life I chose. Some days I'm sad. Most days I'm grateful I didn't lose myself. That's enough.